Topping today's news, the government looking to protect the rights of Bahamian inventors and creators. A 51-year-old man known to police is shot and killed while sitting in his vehicle on Hannah Road, and Eleuthera to get new roads beginning this weekend. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. Thank you so much for joining us. Implementation of new domestic intellectual property asset legislation is underway. Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper led the debate on the compendium of bills that seek to protect Bahamian artists, inventors, creators in the orange economy. In the House of Assembly today, the Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation championed the reform as a robust transformation affording Bahamian creators greater protection and ensuring the country's compliance with 11 international domestic intellectual property conventions. Minister Cooper spoke of the necessity of the new increased protections.
Right now, it is more difficult and time-consuming to file for IP protections here at home than it is to file abroad. And given the current inefficiency and ineffectiveness, it is completely understandable why so many Bahamians go abroad to apply for IP protections. But we're fixing it, Mr. Deputy. We absolutely must make it easier and easy for investors, innovators, and creatives to protect their ideas and creations here at home. These individuals are the ones with the ideas that will grow our economy and diversify it for resilience and 21st century success.
Mr. Cooper says the reforms will provide a wide range of protections safeguarding Bahamian creatives and our culture.
Junkanouers will be able to protect their iconic patterns and designs. And I see Junkanoo in Miami now and elsewhere across the USA being conducted by all and sundry. Manufacturers creating products with specific formulas made from local crops like cascarilla bark or cerasee will be able to protect those products. And bush teas and bush medicine.
Along with the domestic intellectual property reforms, the government will launch a new dedicated intellectual property office separate from the Attorney General's office to speed up filing for both businesses and Bahamian creatives. As government members touted the new intellectual properties bill as a victory for the local orange economy and inventors as well as creators here in the Bahamas, on Wednesday, Opposition Member of Parliament for St. Anne's, Adrian White, took a dogged approach to the bills, saying that they are nothing new and that the government basically merely is catching up with the rest of the world and is being forced to upgrade the legislation in order to benefit from previously signed international agreements.
What I've seen, this is in fact legislation that the senior ups in the European countries, Treaty of Rome, Treaty of Paris, those were quoted, are telling us we need to align our existing patent laws, align our existing trademark laws, align our existing copyright laws in order to be recognized under those treaties. So this isn't really anything groundbreaking again. I told you that they've already accepted they're not amending many of the existing provisions under the acts, two at least of which came under the last Christie administration. They're really trying to make sure that they pull up the socks, tighten the ties, and can get additional benefits under treaties that we've signed, Paris, Rome, etc.
As he wrapped up his contribution, Mr. White urged the government to not be gullible and sign away the rights of Bahamians in haste to please foreign entities when it comes to protecting the intellectual property rights of Bahamians.
Now, Mr. Deputy Speaker, it's always important that we don't simply move forward with laws that foreign bodies are asking us to enter into. Essentially, they're putting a hoop in front of us. We like what's on the other side of the hoop, so we're pulling up, taking our hands off our kimbo, and we're jumping through the hoop. If we're going to make Bahamians millionaires, Mr. Deputy Speaker, through Bush teas and other products, let's make sure we don't unintentionally exclude them from day one. Don't just sit back and allow the Attorney General to tell you this is the legislation, get it through. Okay? Each one of the members of this honorable House should be reading this legislation and questioning this legislation.
The Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation laid the bills, and the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mario Boleg, seconded the bills that are expected to protect Bahamian inventors, creators, artists, manufacturers, as well as natural products that grow here in the Bahamas. A 51-year-old man is dead after he was shot around 8:30 p.m. last night off Hannah Road. That's off Joe Farrington Road. That's in the southeastern part of New Providence. Still early into their investigation, Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Crystalline Skippings shared the following details.
The victim, a 51-year-old male, was inside his burgundy Nissan Cube. He was leaving the residence when two males emerged from a dark-colored Japanese vehicle, opened fire on the victim, shooting him multiple times. He succumbed to his injuries on scene. We have seen him a couple times in our custody for drug possession and for traffic matters.
Asked if drugs could be related to this latest homicide, Mrs. Crystalline Skippings responded like this.
I would say this, what we've seen over the past few months and years, and you've heard me say it time and time again. When persons are engaged in the sale of illegal drugs or even firearms, they can find themselves being a victim of crime, being targeted. And that's why you always hear me say to parents, if you know your loved one is involved in the sale of drugs, try to encourage them to stop and find a legitimate means of being able to sustain themselves financially.
As always, police want your help. You can contact them, 911, 919. You can remain anonymous and call them in Miami, Crime Stoppers, 328-TIPS. That's 328-8477. And just to note, police recently discovered a large cache of weapons and ammunition in an area off Hannah Road near to where this recent homicide occurred. Members of the Union of Tertiary Educators of the Bahamas, UTEB, say they are frustrated with the institution and the government. On Tuesday, during a protest at the front gate of BTVI on Old Trail Road, Acting Director of the Union, Dr. Anastasia Brown, says they are frustrated and their frustrations is mounting as the agreements between the UTEB and the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute to deliver new remittances packages to the faculty members signed over a year ago, they have not been executed, despite promises a month ago.
We received a letter last week stating that, they only have 83% of the money. They can now give the 100. You breaking the agreement. So we sent an email to them, the president, last week Tuesday, asking what happened. Was there a breakdown in communication? Did you send a letter to the FS? What happened? When are you going to write the FS for the money? Because we agreed for 100%, not 83%. Please let us know what happened. No response. No response to date. Now from last week when we sent them this letter, they was ready to come out here. We convinced them not to give us an opportunity to meet with the president, to find out from the president and the board what happened from the month ago. No response. The disrespect needs to stop.
Dr. Brown says they believe the stalling tactics are not by the government. They are placing this frustration or their frustration squarely at the feet of BTVI's president, Dr. Linda Davis.
They're victimizing all of them by holding back their money. That's what that is. Because if you weren't victimizing all of them, they would have given you that 100% a long ago. A month ago, the government, I'm sure, as I said before, the FS sent them money. So yes, you know what, that victimization continues because they would not have been out here today. They would not be out here today. That they would have been paid. Okay, and they're on vacation. So they are on vacation, so you know this is important for them to come off their vacation to come deal with this. As I said, enough is enough. I need to take off my glasses. BTVI board, Dr. Linda Davis, enough is enough.
Dr. Brown says they have continuously tried to reach President Davis, but to no avail. The new semester for BTVI begins in a few weeks. However, many of the union members say they are not prepared to go back if their requirements are not being met. You're listening to JCN News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.